Hi, my name is Mike Richter. I'm the Chief Deputy for the Washburn County Sheriff's Office. Today I'd like to talk to a subject that I think a lot of people don't realize law enforcement is involved in, and that is the correlation between mental health and addiction and how that correlates with crisis management and how law enforcement is involved. So first of all, a mental health crisis is a situation where society either feels fearful or endangered by somebody who's acting out. And that can be caused from several different reasons. But a lot of people don't realize that the response to that activity would be by law enforcement. So our deputies respond to those calls. They go on site and they try to determine whether that's drug-induced, whether it's alcohol-induced, whether it's mental health issues or just criminal conduct. Sometimes people just act out because they're not in a good mood. When responding to these crisis situations, the standard is to determine if this person is an immediate danger to themselves or somebody else in our community. This would invoke basically a Chapter 51 non-consensual detention. The facilities that we have to choose from right now for crisis or Chapter 51 detentions are Eau Claire, Rhinelander, Oshkosh, and Winnebago. In the last year, we've done more transports to Winnebago mental health than we've done in the prior 5 years combined. So you can see there's a great influx in our transports to these far off and distant facilities. Before we leave to transport the people to these facilities, we must obtain a medical clearance at a local hospital. Oftentimes, we have law enforcement officers standing by at the local facilities for 3 to 5 hours before they are medically cleared and ready for transport to the receiving facility. This consumes a lot of the resources that are available both through the Sheriff's Department or the local police departments, oftentimes consuming 50% of our workforce just to take care of the medical clearance section of this process. Once the person's cleared at a local medical facility, they're transported to one of the facilities that I talked about earlier, which oftentimes takes over one full work cycle for one of our deputies. The next thing I just wanted to mention was the impact of methamphetamine in our crisis response. Methamphetamine has had an obvious effect on our crisis intervention or responses from law enforcement. This past year, we are bordering on 300 responses annually, which is huge considering we're a small county with only 16,000 in our population. Okay, the effects of a person who's addicted to methamphetamine basically they live in a cycle of either being highly stimulated, aggressive, maybe homicidal, very violent, to the downside of that, when they crash and they don't have the drug, they're suicidal, depressed, and feeling very poorly physically. They have some real poor physical effects. We see these people that need to be on medication. They're on medication for depression, and that's a direct result. They basically suffer from a mental disease that has been provoked by their addiction or use of methamphetamine. In wrapping up, I just wanted to mention a situation that arises out of these crisis incidents, and that's our safety to our deputies and our officers out there. The people that are high on methamphetamine exhibit danger to our officers through being either suicidal or homicidal. They're very aggressive, and these, for community members, are not the people that you want to confront. If they're near your residence, if you have conflict with them, you shouldn't try to resolve these situations on your own. You should call law enforcement, as these people pose a great risk to our law enforcement officers who are trained and armed. The final thing I wanted to leave a note is locally, you've seen some incidents in the news. The Deputy Glaze homicide, Washburn County Sheriff's Department had a deputy involved in a shooting, and we've had several special response team call-outs that revolve around people who are under the influence of methamphetamine. which exhibits once again how dangerous and unpredictable these people can be.